What is going on, everybody? It is Bush Fishing, and we have returned for another video. This video is going to be, I don't know how I want to structure it, but it's going to be kind of just a regular day of being a boat mechanic here in Wisconsin in the winter. So I meant to start this video earlier, had to take a look at a car, which was really weird, but we got a late start. I'm technically off right now, even though I'm still coming in to get this video for you guys. But in today's video, we're going to be working on a ski boat. I have the work order, which I'll go through in a little bit with you guys, but it's getting full services and a bunch of other things. So we're going to be working on that boat and just kind of going through a regular day. So up until this point, I got up, took a look at that car, and we stopped and made a parts run, went and picked up some spark plugs for this, a fuel filter for this, and a couple other small things. But before we get into today's video, if you guys are new here, I'm Teo. I run ST Marine and Bush Fishing, which I've been debating switching the YouTube name, but I don't know yet. We'll see how that goes. But make sometimes fishing videos, primarily boat repairs, boat mechanical work, and then boat building videos. If you guys didn't see in the last video, we started building a center console for my center console. We're doing a custom center console, custom leaning post. The boat's getting a new deck and these two beautiful twin engines behind me. So if you guys are interested in any of that, make sure to subscribe down below. We have a lot more coming. I'm gonna be filming pretty regularly now. So hopefully we're aiming for uploads every Friday. And hopefully if I get enough, I can do twice a week. And if you guys want any ST Marine merch or Bush Fishing merch, first link down below in the description. But let me grab the work order. I have some cleaning up that I need to do from building that. So I'm gonna get cleaned up, get this boat moved in, and we'll get to work. What's great about working on boats in the winter is that it's mostly laid back. You don't have to rush through anything. People aren't up your ass to get their boats back, so you can kind of take your time, do more, get more done. But next to me is a Merc 200 2.5 liter XRI. This boat is in for, to quickly go through the work order, we got a full engine service, plugs, fuel filter, stuff like that, and he kind of just wants the thing looked at, so we'll do a compression test, stuff like that. It's gonna get a lower unit service, and then the diagnose and repair items are captain's chair base is loose, chair is just wobbling around, so we'll take a look at that. Ignition switch is slipping, which is really common. Most of the time you can tighten them up or add another washer, but that's when you turn the key and it doesn't actually engage the starter, it just kind of spins in there. And trailer lights need to be looked over. Apparently some of those aren't working, so we'll hook up manual power to it, figure out which isn't working, and then fix those. And then the last thing for diagnose and repair is the bow section of the rub rail, which I'll show you in a little bit. It must have hit something and popped up, so we'll try and take the screws out, heat it up, bend it back to where it is, and then put the screws back in. And lastly, it's gonna get a premium detail, so we'll wash and wax the outside, clean the inside, and then there's some buildup, some growth in the bottom, so we'll spray it with some acid. But that's what the boat's in for. What we're gonna start with is probably the longer stuff. Start draining the lower unit out, and while it does that, we'll do the spark plugs, fuel filters, stuff like that, and then we'll move on to the inside of the boat. Shouldn't hopefully take that long. We do have some other things to get done today, so we'll try and buzz through this pretty quick. I think this one's gonna be the one that I show in the video. But yeah, let's get started. Alrighty, so I'm gonna sit on the ground for this. Lower unit service, drain and fill the gear oil. And this one, it's on the port side. Make sure to have a rag. Crack that lower drain plug loose, make sure that the seal, that ain't good. And then we'll pop out the vent. There's the oil. So that's definitely something to make a note of. Because of that, I'm gonna pop the prop out, but I also wanna take a look at these seals once it's finished draining. So first of all, the two drain plugs were backwards. This one is supposed to be the vent because it doesn't have the magnet on it. This plug has the magnet, so any metal that gets pulled from the gears is supposed to collect at the bottom, collect on this magnet. So they were backwards. It has the yellow reusable Merc seals. I haven't seen the bottom one yet. So that water being in there could be because it's missing a seal down here, if it is missing one. Otherwise, more likely than not, it's gonna be a prop shaft seal. Drive shaft seal and gear selector seals really don't take a poop that much, but the way to find out is we'll hook up the pressure tester to the gear oil fitting, close up the top one, blow it up to like 3 psi, and spray soapy water around the seal and see. But for now, we'll let this drain out and make sure we don't lose these two plugs. Off to a good start already. Alrighty, so now while that drains out, I'm gonna grab my spark plugs at my spark plug socket. We'll start pulling these guys out. Alrighty, let's pull these plug wires off. It's a V6. Grab our 13/16 spark plug socket. Grab an extension, the 13/16. Just go around and crack them all loose. These, I believe, are NGK BU8Hs, which is what we got to replace them. Gonna be going with the same one. I believe they're surface gaps, which I really don't like. They work, they put them in there for a reason, but to me on 2 strokes, they foul up real bad. So here's number 1. Don't look too bad, actually. Not too shabby. This one's actually got some buildup on it. What we're looking for is like one of them to be clean or one of them to be really black. What we want is all of them to be even. Still looking the same. That was our port bank. Let's take a look at our starboard bank. That was 6, 4, and 2. This is 1, 3, and 5. Number 5 looking the same. Still good. Swell 6 looking pretty much the same. He didn't say they were having any issues with it. It's just in for service, but it's always a good idea just to kind of look things over. So I'm gonna grab our new plugs. NGK's part number 6431. Sure we got the washer, and we'll start threading these guys in. There we go. Usually like to start them by hand, and then do them by hand with just the extension and socket, and then evenly torque them up with the ratchet. I use this boat for barefooting a lot, which I've never been, but I would like to try. All right, now they're all in by hand. We'll do them with just the socket and extension, just until they stop. It's important you don't change the spark plugs because the depth matters. If I would have put a regular plug in, it could be too deep, and then the piston would come up and hit the end of it. No gapping on these. These are all surface gap. I'll come back with the ratchet. Just go until they stop, until that washer crushes. Alrighty. Next up, we're gonna take a look at all the plug wires, make sure they're not corroded, make sure they're pushed up on the coil nicely. There's 1, 2, 4, 6 down here, and 5. Save these guys for throwing at windshields. That was a joke. Alrighty, next up we have fuel filter. On the bottom, we have a water sensor wire. Pop that baby off, grab her by the bottom, crack it off with the pliers. What I need to do is get a clear container. I'll pull it out, we'll pull our fuel sample from here and just see if there's any water that's been getting in here. The sensor should go off if there's water in the filter, but it's always a good idea to check. Take a look, make sure the gasket comes off with it. Ooh. Alrighty, so here's our clear bottle. Dump what we got in here, and then what we'll do, I can see a little bit of water in there, but what we'll do is we'll let this sit on the side for a while. I'll put it on the bench probably so I don't spill it, but we'll let this sit and see if any water separates at the bottom. But this looks pretty good, it's just old. With the new filter, we're gonna fill it with a mix of some fuel, which if this is good, we'll pour some of this back in. Fuel, stable, Starbright enzyme treatment, fuel, enzyme treatment, and a little bit of 2-stroke oil just to kind of pre-lube them. And then we'll screw the new filter back in, so let me grab that. I just dropped the new filter and dented it. We'll throw that one in just for now so it doesn't leak fuel everywhere, but I will have to grab another one. That one was the last one I had. Alrighty, so we'll leave the motor for now and look back over the estimate. We'll hop up in the boat now and we'll do the interior stuff, and then we'll do trailer lights, and then we'll do detail last, which I might wait to do the detail because I believe Grant's working with me tomorrow and the next day. So we'll tag team it and then I can do a nice time lapse. But for now, let's hop up in the boat, take our shoes off so we keep them clean. I like small boats because you can just climb right over. Alrighty, so captain's chair seat. Very loose, very, very loose. And you can already see ignition is spinning, so we'll try and tighten up the nut on the back side if we have access, which we don't. So try and tighten it. Oops. Power's on. I don't know how the hell you fit your legs in there. All right, let's see about this captain's chair base. I'm thinking it's not the actual base, it's the chair. The chair is broken. Yeah, the base is tight. It's the chair that's broke. We can look for a replacement, but I do not think we're gonna be able to fix this unless we like reupholstered it and fiberglassed it, but it's almost not worth it. Well, that sucks. This is the fun part of working on boats. All right, so good news, there's no nut on the back side, so we're gonna try tightening up the front side while holding the base. Let's see if that does us any good. I just don't think it's grabbing threads anymore. I don't even know where I left you guys. Dash panel came out. It was spinning because the housing wasn't tight. So hopefully I put this key in. Starter's not grabbing, but doesn't slip anymore. So there are two studs coming from the front side of the mount, and those, you couldn't tighten the nuts past where the key switch was sitting. So I had to do it with a wrench and kind of like force it through. Whatever, that part's done with. That took way longer than it should have. Let's get this dash remounted in here, and let's keep on keeping on with our day. Alrighty, I don't even want to talk about how long that took. That's taken care of. We're out of the boat now. What we have left is, you can see this section of rub rail is bent up. We're going to be fixing this. We're going to pop these screws out. The problem is this is metal, but we're still going to try heating up because this is rubber. This will help it flex a little, and we'll try and bend this metal downward a little bit, and then hopefully bend this one up. We might put some 5200 on it, see what we can do there, but let's get started on the bow. Zip screws everywhere on this boat. Alrighty, those two kind of took too long. Let's see what we're working with down here. I'm gonna try and pop the seal out, if it even has a seal. So that bottom seal that just got pulled out most likely came with the boat. So I'm gonna grab some new seals. That one was all kind of ripped and flattened to where it probably wasn't doing much. And let's fill this baby up. You can get a bunch of these on Amazon. These are the blue seals. The one that it has is yellow up top, so we'll take that out as well. But the yellows can supposedly stay in. The blue ones are supposed to be replaced every time. So we'll switch it to the blues. And you can get the blues, I think I already said that. You can get the blues on Amazon. You can get a bunch of them for really cheap. If you own a Merc and you're most likely doing the lower unit every year, it's kind of worth it just to have them on hand, so every time you can swap them out. Now, let's get this guy threaded in. We got that guy threaded in. Let's open up the valve. We got these guys cleaned off. I'm gonna put the seals on just to be prepared. We'll fill it up till we see it come out the vent hole. Then we'll put the vent plug in so it doesn't drain out as fast, and we'll be quick and try and drain out down here. I am gonna turn the motor though, so I have a little better access. Now, let's fill this baby up. Now I had it trimmed up a little bit just because when it's draining it comes out the front. If I trim it down I might get a little more out of it, but it's really not up that far. So I'm happy to leave her here. You really want to let it, like in an outdrive you'd want to let the oil level settle because it'll keep on coming up even after you put this plug in. But with how small these are, you can usually stop them here. And then with the amount of oil that we're going to lose when we take that plug out, which hopefully isn't a lot, it kind of evens itself out. I believe 1.5 quarts, not a whole lot. Not like an outdrive. There she goes. So, you can see it kind of stopped coming out already. Put in our plug with our new seal. Now the fun part. So we'll shut this valve. Am I better right-handed or left-handed? Let's try lefty. I'll get it loose and kind of hold it there. And then, boop. We really only lost a little bit. Alrighty, those two are tightened up. You're gonna spray her down with some carb clean. And I believe all that we got left today is trailer lights. We'll get those diagnosed. Hopefully we don't have to buy any new lights or bulbs or anything, but we'll get that diagnosed, and then tomorrow morning I have confirmed Grant is going to be working with me, so we'll tag team the detail on this. All right, so my mind blanked there for a second. You guys are probably wondering why I didn't pressure test it even though there was water. We did pressure test it. This is what it looks like. So you got your lower unit threads here and just a little gauge with a hand pump. What you do is you pump it up, and I gave it 4 psi, and you pretty much just let it sit. You can either spray bubbles if you have it off, or you can let it sit just to figure out if it did. And I went in that drain hole in the bottom and it held the 4 psi, so it had to be that seal that was on there. So lower unit's good to go. Pressure tested, it's got good oil in it. The power head's good. All that we've got left is those trailer lights, and then full detail tomorrow with the acid wash on the bottom just because he wants that staining off the hull. So I'm gonna grab my multimeter and a battery and some test leads, and let's figure out why these lights don't work. So it's the next day. I don't know where I left you. I'm pretty sure I didn't show me starting to work on the trailer lights. Mr. Grant's here today. He's been detailing, and while he's finishing up on this, and while he was doing this, I figured out the lights. One of the tail lights were good. The other one, which this is left side, was bad. It had a cracked housing and the bulb gave out. And then the marker lights, they were bad, but there was also a wiring issue where they use these T-taps just connecting all of them, which they suck, especially if they go underwater, which a boat trailer does. So we figured that out. Now we have power going to the rest of the lights. I'm gonna get these lights approved and I can have them here by the end of the day, so they'll go in tomorrow. But for now, we're gonna finish up this video. Grant's gonna finish cleaning this old girl.
Scrubbing away.
Life is much better when he's here. It's much nicer. But we got our boat pulled in for tomorrow. That is going to be the next video that you guys see. It's gonna be working on that Mastercraft back in the corner, and that boat's been to like 4 marinas, nobody could fix it, so we're gonna see if we can fix it. That's all engine work though. After that, we're gonna be doing more boat building stuff. But for now, if you guys enjoyed, make sure to leave a like, comment, subscribe. If you guys wanna keep Grant around, buy some merch down in the description so I can afford him. And we'll see you guys in the next one.